Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from Your Overwatch. I'm Eddie the Chump and today we'll be talking about the continuation of a recent interview that Big Daddy Jeff has given to the International Business Times. In this interview he details where the Overwatch team's thoughts are on certain heroes the community may or may not think are a problem. He goes into their thought process a little bit for each one, so I've collected some quotes for you to mull over. There's also the small matter of some possible new skins, so look forward to that later in the video. The first hero I'm going to focus on is Reaper. Jeff had this to say: I think Reaper is somebody who ebbs and flows as the meta does. An example, when Ana's nano boost is used to give the movement speed buff, we were seeing a lot of Reaper in play at the time. The more we see Winston, the more we see Reaper. Reaper is a fantastic counter to Winston. I do think we'll see more Reaper as the meta shifts around. With that said, we're trying some stuff internally on Reaper right now. I don't know if it will see the light of day or not, but it's internal only right now, and it's very minor. Just a little bit of quality of life issues that we're trying to pick up with him. I think Reaper is not in a terrible spot. Those thoughts kind of mirror our own on this channel. It's not that Reaper is bad by any stretch, it's just that he's quite situational. There's plenty of reasons as to why you would or wouldn't pick him. He's not very useful against Pharah, for example, and at the moment she's arguably one of the most ubiquitous and effective DPS heroes in matchmaking. It's true he's good against Winston, but if people are playing dive, they're more than likely running a Genji or Tracer as well, sometimes both. He's not terrible against flankers, but he is no McCree or Roadhog. It's true that some heroes are viable, but viable at their situational job. Reaper is one such hero. It is nice to see that behind the scenes they're at least trying some stuff out with him. Time will tell if we'll ever see those changes. The next hero that I'm going to focus on is Soldier, what with a lot of the community being split on whether they like where he is or whether he's a bit too good for how easy he is to play. Jeff had this to say: 76 is somebody who we've balanced back and forth quite a number of times. He's very dominant right now, and he's very prevalent in the meta, but we don't think he's too far off. If anything, maybe his damage is a little too high. I would hate to knock 76 back so far that he drops out of the meta. We need to be really careful with these things, because the littlest tweak can really change not only the actual balance, but even worse, the perceived balance. Player perception of what's viable or not is actually more important than what is actually viable right now or not. And once players decide something like 76 is useless, we won't play him anymore, that's more devastating than anything else. Now this actually lines up pretty well with how we feel too. We've suggested making his gun a burst if he wanted to keep its damage profile, but it's interesting to see Jeff talk openly about reducing his damage a little. I'm more in favour of making a hero require more skill if they have access to high volumes of damage, but I'm sure there's many of you who really enjoy playing him now how he currently is, so I totally understand Jeff's hesitance to mess with him too much. One hero I did not expect to see discussed was Reinhardt. I see Rein as perfectly fine. I don't think he needs any adjustment, let alone a nerf of any kind. Jeff had this to say: I think Reinhardt is a very central and core character to Overwatch. What we're seeing out of the pro scene right now is not that he's a must-have. What's been great in the Apex tournament in South Korea is we're seeing a lot of usage of Xayah, D.Va, Winston. Winston, even before we buffed him, was getting a lot of play in Korea. We feel like Reinhardt's not necessarily the must-pick that players perceive him to be. He's also a tricky character, because if you do certain things to Reinhardt, you risk removing him from the meta altogether, and I don't think anybody wants to see that. I actually completely agree with Jeff here. I think if anything it's changes to heroes around Rein like Orisa that would have the desired effect. The reason Rein is seen as a must-pick is because he's the only hero who really does that mobile shielding job. Until there's more viable options for that specific role, he'll remain where he is in terms of pick rate. The same could be said for the old Lucio, it's a similar dilemma. And finally, the new Overwatch comic is out. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, go read it for yourself, but all I will say is, oh my god, that's the coolest Genji skin imaginable. I don't even play Genji and I want it. There's also hints at possible skins for a Cadet, Tracer, Torb, Rein and Mercy. Just a side note, interesting that McCree is still just in his poncho in the comic. Come on Big Daddy Jeff, do me a favour. I said I needed a deagle for McCree like a year ago. Aside from that, the comic's great. It is a bit Brexit, what with apparently the UK being the worst place to be an Omnic ever because all the Brits hate them blooming robots or something. Whatever, we can take a joke. Read it, it's pretty good. So there you go. As we get closer to the 12th, I'm sure there'll be more content to cover, so rest assured we've got you guys covered. If you like the video, please don't forget to leave a rating. If you never want to miss out on one of our videos again, click the bell icon next to the subscribe button on our channel to join the notification squad. You'll be in good company. Please check out our Discord, where you can join one of the biggest Discord communities for Overwatch out there. If you want to see us tilt live for your enjoyment, please check out our Twitch channel, which will be linked in the description. Also, please follow the Your Overwatch Twitter, it's where you can find updates for new videos and streams. I've been Eddie the Chump, and until next time.